My bad, guys.
Place people. We're actually live. We're live.
We're live. All right.
So, guys, welcome to Yatta Debates episode 20. For today, we did a viewer request, and we actually got quite a few submissions on some topics that we looked into, and we took it back to the lab and we really discussed what we want to talk to you today about. To make missing up my words, but now we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as usual. So. Shelly, this came through one of your requests.
Yeah, I got a lot of requests talking about the retrograde and what they are because, everybody always sees like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde, like, oh my God, like the world's ending. And really, in reality, Mercury goes into retrogrades 3 times a year. So like,
wait, hold on. So you got to slow down for this moment because even from my personal experience, what is a retrograde? Is it a Gatorade flavor?
I'm so glad that
is
you
it a
asked
sports
me
drink? Please, because
And I know you guys see that I have my papers here and stuff like that because I pulled Yatta's birth chart as well too.
Oh
no. Basically, a retrograde is like it means on Earth, like how we orbit the sun. It just means that the planet, when we are going around it, it's moving. It looks like it's moving backwards. Therefore, certain planets take longer or shorter to orbit the sun. Like Venus takes like 225 days to orbit the sun, whereas like orbit through zodiac signs, I should say. Whereas Mercury takes like 80 something days, and then Mars takes its time.
Yeah, scientifically, just because they're closer to the sun, so like it takes less about
with
time.
Us going the 365 days a year, it kind of looks like when we're going past these planets or when they're going through these zodiacs, they're going backwards. So when they go backwards, they affect whatever zodiac sign they're in and also whatever zodiac sign they rule. So that's what retrograde really means. Whatever planet is in retrograde at that time, it affects whatever that planet rules. So different planets rule different things, which brings me.
I'm getting the science lesson right now. Hold on, let me ask you this though. So as far as the planets being in retrograde, would like the moon kind of like have anything to do that?
But the moon is stationary, and it really doesn't play a part in retrogrades. It plays more a part in your emotions than it does in retrogrades, which is moon cycles. And if you want to know more about like the moon phases and how they affect different things and different manifestations, because people think, okay, all right, during a full moon you're supposed to do one thing, and then during a new moon you're supposed to do another, but in between you're also supposed to do things too if you're going to do practice moon rituals. Like the full moon is for release, it's for purging, getting rid of things, and it's every 14 days. So with the new moon, you're supposed to set your intentions, set up your, set your goals and things for the next cycle to begin. Like that's what the moon cycles are for, and they do play a part in retrogrades as well too. But it's really the focus today is retrogrades. If you do want to know more about moon cycles, I could tell y'all all about it. You hit my Eye of Shell Visions page. I got all that information on there.
I threw a curveball there at you, but yes. back to what you were saying as far as like.
But basically retrogrades, there's always at least one planet in retrograde. Everybody on Instagram, there's always at least one planet in retrograde during the year, or at least during a month. Certain planets, like I think like Jupiter or like Uranus or something like that, they take like 80 something to like a couple years to orbit through zodiac signs. So like we may have been born under one sign, which brings me to the birth charts of the retrogrades. You may have been born with one sign in retrograde at that time because that planet was in retrograde during that time. Like this year in 2019, Mercury went into retrograde 3 times, whereas Venus did not go into retrograde. And Mars did not go into retrograde. Jupiter is in retrograde or has completed its retrograde. Saturn went into retrograde.
So for the average person and average user for me who's not like necessarily like in depth with all of this, how does this like a planet being in retrograde like affect a person? I
will get into all of that. But yes. So Uranus went into retrograde this year, Neptune went into retrograde this year, and Pluto, I can't remember if it did or it didn't. Hold on, I'll tell you right now because I got it right here. Don't mind me, guys. I told you I got all this information right here on my little My little cheat sheet.
She has a pad.
I do. And Pluto went into retrograde this year. And Pluto is ruled by, you can take it. Just take it. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, and it's the planet of power. So that being in retrograde this year is actually a really good thing. That means like a lot of people who are influenced by that sign, who their rising or their sun sign maybe by that, they are actually having a good year. And we also entered the age of Aquarius, which is another thing that is incorporated in retrogrades as well too.
And T's is saying,
hey everybody.
And T's is saying that she was actually born during a Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
So, that's interesting. Thank you for that. Please, guys, if you know any of this, please just let me know.
Yes.
Because if I was born during the retrograde, I have no idea. All I know is my birth date and my time. So.
So with that being said, a lot of times people, with retrogrades, they don't know what planet represents what. Like we know about Mercury, and that's really it. You don't know what the other planets affect and what they do. So I had a little breakdown of all the planets. I tried to simplify it for you guys because it's like this whole giant breakdown. Virgo, I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'm gonna tell y'all all y'all planets where they do. So if y'all see me flipping through my little book, I had to write them down because it's a lot of information that I can't just keep up in this beautiful brain of mine. I have a lot going on in my mind. So Mercury is the planet of communication, which is why when Mercury goes into retrograde, you notice that a lot of miscommunications happen. You'll notice that maybe your exes start hitting you up, like weird random things start happening, like a lot of miscommunications, breakups happen around Mercury when they're in retrograde and things like that. So that planet affects that, and it's ruled by Mercury. To clear the air, like planets, they could be masculine or feminine, and Mercury has no set gender.
But so with that, it's just like, how do we know, like, if we're in retrograde, like, because
there's a calendar
that shows you.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, like I don't know, like it just be seeming like I don't know what it is, but I guess it might be like some kind of communication error and people just going through issues, and I guess it's like correlating. You see a lot of people going through like a lot of issues at the same time. But I don't know, like. But
then again, it might not be Mercury. It could be other planets that affect their signs. Because if your ruling planet is in retrograde, you're going to be deeply affected by that. So Mercury is the planet that affects like intellect, awareness, logic, and reasoning. And it takes, again, 88 days to complete its orbit through a zodiac sign. So whenever it's in a certain zodiac sign, it affects that zodiac sign the hardest. Right now it's in Scorpio, and it's going to end, I believe, in Sagittarius. And it's neither masculine or feminine, but it rules the signs of Gemini and Virgo. And it also is in the 3rd and 6th houses, which I'll get to towards the end of the show, what each house means. Since Venus had no retrogrades this year, Venus rules love and money. And it's more so about love, romance, harmony, and our emotional attachments.
So when you say like retrograde, do these things always affect you negatively?
No, retrogrades don't affect you negatively. Some of them affect you positively. Again, if it's your ruling planet that is in retrograde, you're probably going to benefit versus people whose planet is not, or if your house is not in that, you're not going to benefit from it. You're going to feel it. Like a lot of people who are not Geminis and Virgos are feeling it right now. Like they are not, that everything is like going wrong and all those things like that. Whereas Geminis right now and Virgos are probably prospering. They're probably finding new love. They're probably everything's just going right for them. They get new job offers, things like that. So it's like everything's going right for them as far as that. They're able to communicate more effectively and things like that. Whereas other signs, say like Taurus, Capricorn, and things like that, we're affected by it because now we're like, okay, we have to get like crunch time on things like
Mercury, keep doing your thing for me.
It ends November 20th, and I'm glad that it does.
No, stay for a while.
But Venus, again, like I said, did not have any retrogrades this year, and it rules like love, finances, and emotional attachments and things like that. And it teaches us how to appreciate others and things that we possess, and it also affects our appearance as far as like beauty and things like that. And that is ruled by Taurus, and Libra,
Mm-hmm.
in the 2nd and 7th houses. So yeah, we have my little visitors, my little people were in there. You know, they always make their guest appearances randomly.
Always, you know what I mean? Hit on the other debates, only so you can understand.
So Mars did not have any retrogrades. Mars is the planet of passion. So when Mars goes into retrograde, you'll notice like that's the budding of like new, real, passionate like relationships. And Mars takes 2 years to orbit. So we probably, if we didn't get a retrograde this year, we're gonna probably have one next year in 2020.
Oh
and,
no!
Oh
no!
It does not disappoint though. It's energy, passion, drive, determination. So like this is that when it's in retrograde, that's when you get majority of things done. Like any opportunity you have, you're going to get it done. Any goals you have set for yourself, you're getting done. You have the passion and the pull to get those things done. It's basically about ambition, aggression. It values courage, and all those things like that. So but it also rules our sexuality too.
So with that, is there anything that we can kind of do? Like, let's say there's people that are affected by this on a negative spectrum. Is there anything that they can kind of do to kind of like counterbalance it? Because it seems kind of like messed up that it's just like, oh well, it's this time for this planet to be in this orbit, so it's just screwed up for me and good for this person. That's messed up.
Well, what I always tell the people when the planet's going to retrograde or when a planet is negatively going to affect you in retrograde, especially now that I do like my tarot and like all those things like that, I always say be patient and don't make any decisions that can be life altering during these times, because you may be making an impulsive decision versus a rational decision.
I made a lot of those.
So you have to really step back and be patient, think and then also let go. Mercury retrograde also is about letting go, purging, letting go of things. That's why a lot of people break up, because they realize that all the smoke and mirrors in between relationships, they kind of comes out. Like it kind of like, all right, if it wasn't what it was, it's definitely not what it is, and it's gonna end, because you're not gonna meet no common ground in that time frame, especially if your sign is not a Gemini or a Virgo. You're going to be arguing with the person, and eventually you guys are, if y'all not compatible in any way, shape, or form, and y'all can't communicate, or y'all not on the same intellectual level, y'all are going to split. And that's just the reality of it. And that's why people fear Mercury retrograde so much, because it's kind of like you have to face your truths.
And I know we have a viewer, Scorpio specifically, that might
happy birthday, Iris.
Happy birthday. Oh yeah, happy birthday to Iris. But yeah, like that's like might be going through what you're saying, you know. So I really hope. Oh well,
their planet is ruled by Mars, so next year they might be on the up and coming, because Aries and Scorpio are for Mars, and Mars is a masculine planet. And again, like I was saying, it rules our sexuality and sexual energy. So like that's the time when like a lot of the lust demons will be out too. So you also have to be wary of that too, because if Mars is in retrograde, and Mars retrograde takes longer than Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde lasts like maybe like a couple weeks, but Mars retrograde, when it lasts, like you'll start getting into like these, like, I don't know, you'll think a fling is going to be a relationship, and then it's not, and that's when, you know,
I think lust demons is just such a horrible term.
Would you like me to call them succubus instead?
No, okay. It's just that's the time to play. That's the time when you play the field.
Yeah, but a lot of people can't play the field, especially like when two planets are in retrograde at once. You start looking. You're not thinking objectively, especially if your sign is affected by that. So that's one of the other planets. So we've already covered Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And then when you get to the outer planets, they take the longest to orbit the sun, and their retrogrades affect your birth charts, which is why when I tell people like you're more than just a Capricorn, you're more than just a Gemini, you're more than just a Pisces, because your birth chart is a breakdown of every planet that was in that you were born under. Like, so at that time when you were born in that place, wherever the stars align, is you. And
this is something that like I kind of seen like a couple of years ago. They was just like, okay, so like, you know, the sun, the planets, and the moon, they all have like magnetic forces that are so strong that they can keep them all in orbit, right? And they said if that magnetic force is that strong to affect these massive planets, what do you think it's doing to you? All
right, so think about this. If the moon can affect tides, in a way where if the moon is too close, we'll have like high tides, crazy tides. If the moon's too far away, we'll have low tides. If we don't have the new moon, then and we're made of 70% water. Why would people think that the moon doesn't affect us? Why do you think the planetary magnetic forces don't affect us?
So with that, at that point, does it get more to like a microscopic level and a biological level where like might be affecting like your blood or something in a way? Like
no, not that way. It is more towards your psyche than anything. Like it's more towards you as a person. That's what I'm
saying. Like with that kind of magnetic forces, it kind of like, I don't want to say throwing you off balance, but like
it does throw people off balance.
So
it does. Like I said, if that goes down to your birth charts, which I'll get to as well too. If you have a certain planet, like all right, say your Jupiter is in whatever, but Jupiter's in retrograde in Gemini right now or something like that, you're gonna be affected by that.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. So with that same magnetic force, like with the moon, is it the same thing? Like when we're talking about like the planets and orbit, like does that kind of like?
It only really affects us when they're in retrograde, because that's like when they're moving backwards. That's when the pull is really the strongest.
Got you.
For them, because
it's like the planets kind of like, I guess, like crossing, and it's like all this magnetism.
Yes.
That word of the day, magnetism.
Yes. So Jupiter is the planet of luck, which also is on your birth chart as well too. And it had a retrograde this year. I don't know the exact timing of it because I didn't really look up the timings of the retrogrades. You guys can definitely check it out. Just Google the different planets in retrogrades. Like I said, some of them had retrogrades. Some of them are still in retrograde from like years ago. I think Pluto just got out of Scorpio not too long ago, because it takes like 88 something years or something. Like some of these retrogrades are generational more so than individual. So they affect our generations of people.
Can multiple planets be in retrograde?
Yeah, they can be in retrograde at once. Just this summer, Jupiter, Mercury, and I think it was another, and Saturn were all in retrograde at the same time. And this summer was a cosmic shit show. So
I can't say maybe yes and maybe no for me. Like I won't say it was like a shit show.
I don't know. It was for me. Like I was done.
I would say towards the end of it.
And that's when it was towards the end, like towards July and August.
Don't do that.
That's when all three of them were in retrograde at the same time.
Oh man.
But
big changes.
Jupiter is a thinking person's planet, from what they say, and it rules our higher learning and our yearn for exploring ideas, intellectuality and spirituality, and a search for answers, but also luck and good fortune and growth and flourishing positively. And it takes 12 years to orbit through a zodiac sign, and it's ruled by Sagittarius and Pisces in the 9th and 10th house. So when Jupiter is in retrograde, Sagittarius and Pisces, they usually have the best of luck in regards to jobs, relationships, love, life, all those things like that. Just any type of natural luck, they feel like they're getting it more and more, or it may negatively affect them if certain parts of their houses are not in line, where it'll negatively affect them. So in a sense, it'll be bad luck.
When you say certain parts of their houses, what do you mean? Like
because when we're born, there's 12 houses in the zodiac.
Yeah.
And if you're born in a certain house, if that planet's in retrograde and that's your ruling planet in your house, whatever house you're in that you were born in, that's what you're going to be affected by.
So, but when you say house, you like the house you're born on, you mean like
no, the houses of the zodiac.
So
yeah, there's 12 houses of the zodiac of where you're born in, because there's 12 different like positions of the zodiac. That's why when people meet certain signs, they're like, "Oh, yeah, all Gemini." No, all signs are not the same. We are not the same. Just like I always tell people, I'm like, December Capricorns are not the same as January Capricorns. December Capricorns, they do their thing, but January Capricorns, we the realest. So Saturn is my ruling planet. And I actually have that tattooed on me. I think it's on this side. Let me see. No, it's not. Oh, wrong side. It's actually, I'm kidding. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's on my arm. Sorry, guys. It's on my arm. So Saturn, if y'all can see it, is in here. The symbol of it's in my sunflower. And that's my ruling planet. And it's the planet of karma. and it's ruled by Kronos, which is the Greek god of mythology of time, which means discipline and things like that, which is kind of ironic because I am never on time for anything. So, like, never. So it's kind of funny that that's my ruling planet, and I am never on time.
Maybe you're in retrograde.
I'm always in retrograde.
I like long retrograde on time.
So, Saturn is more of like a work planet. It's more of like get to work, like do that. Like it's about work ethic, discipline.
I must have been in retrograde my whole life with her.
Responsibility and learning lessons. So when Saturn goes into retrograde, a lot of karmic lessons are learned during that time. So anything that needed to be undone is undone during Saturn retrograde, which is why like people will be like will have harmonious things, and then all of a sudden some random person from your past that traumatized you years ago may have popped up, and now you have to address that, or you have to address things that you buried deep inside of yourself because Saturn is in retrograde and it's telling you like, listen, you can't hold on to that. Karma is about to catch up with you. And I love when Saturn goes into retrograde. It doesn't go into retrograde often because Saturn does take 28 years to orbit through signs, and my full orbit will be this January for my sign. So I will probably get all of my karmic lessons next year. That's why I'm trying to undo everything right now.
But when we say karmic lessons, I mean, it could be karma's not necessarily bad.
No, actually when you do your birth chart, it'll tell you, and also your numerology, like if you do numerology and you check your numbers, it'll tell you how many karmic lessons you have. I don't have any like karmic lessons that were attached to me, but I feel like in my lifetime I've accumulated karmic lessons because I've done a lot of things to people, and so I had to undo that.
So what you're saying is your next life is going to be.
I'm trying to make sure that when I pass on to the other side, that my other soul does not have to undo the evil things that I have done. They're
dealing with a lot of repercussions. So let's just say that.
So again, Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, and it's kind of funny because I'm on the cusp. If y'all don't know what cusps are, it's people who are born in between signs. So I'm born on the last day of Capricorn, but not the first day of Aquarius. And so I'm influenced by both of the signs. And if you're born closer to the beginning or end of a sign, you may be a cusp baby, whereas you actually inherit both traits of the sign. And each cusp has a name. I'm born on the cusp of mystery and imagination, which means that a lot of people may perceive me as mysterious. They can't figure me out. But also I'm very creative. Like, as y'all can see, I do a lot of different things in a lot of different avenues. Probably a lot of y'all don't know, I write poetry. I write a lot of stuff.
When is the book coming
out? I'm supposed to be working on my book, but I have so many things on my plate. I'm trying not to spread myself and scatter my energies into different places. So I just focus on my tarot.
I got the 7 cups.
Yes. Hey, he got the scattered energies card. So, I just, I've learned a lot this year, and I feel like the Saturn going into retrograde this year has really taught me a lot, and it's also helped me open up and get outside of my comfort zone, because I've done a lot of things that were outside of my comfort zone. Like, I don't know if a lot of y'all probably are new to like following me and stuff, but I never used to really post videos or post live things, and
to the point where you're even starring in the movie.
Yeah, to the point where I was even starring in a movie, and it's like,
shout out to Mar Boomman.
Yes,
Lily,
check out Lily. It's on my
YouTube.
page. It's on Mar Boomman's page. Subscribe to his page. Turn on post notifications for that as well too. We're gonna have way more projects coming out.
And that is Lily, Lily, and Mar Boomman. Y'all know Mar Boomman. We'll tag him at the end of this movie. We'll tag him.
Because Mar really did his thing with this movie. That movie was great. I was laughing. I was happy at my parts. I think I played a good vampire. So I really tried to kill Yatta. I really did. He just took advantage of me, but it's okay.
But she caught it.
Mar caught me. It was okay.
But again, like you said, with the during this, you said the Saturn retrograde, you really like stepped out of your comfort zone and really like. Now with this, and this is what I'm gonna ask you, with the retrograde, like, is that one of those things that's like a permanent effect on you now, where you feel like you'll be more open and willing to like.
When you go through the retrogrades, you can approach it one of two ways. If you ignore it, those planets are going to eventually go back into retrograde again, and you're going to have to ultimately deal with whatever it is. retrograde. It's just gonna go into retrograde into another sign.
Hey shelves.
Hey boo. So it's just gonna go through another sign. It orbits through different signs. So I'm not sure exactly which sign it's in orbit right now, but I know that it's in retrograde right now. It'll probably go into retrograde next year, but into a different sign. And it's whatever sign it is in orbit of. So that's the thing about retrogrades, is that when they're in retrograde in a certain zodiac sign, not just in retrograde period. Like, the constellations, and this goes back to astronomy, the stars in the skies and the different constellations, the planets go into retrograde in certain constellations or signs, zodiac signs. So that's what sign is affected by the retrograde.
So this is something that's more like, that can be more vary from person to person.
Yeah, it varies from person. That's what I said. Certain people during Mercury retrogrades prosper, where certain people during Mercury retrogrades, they just feel like, wow, I'm just being piled on with a whole bunch of stuff that I just cannot take it no more. It's unbearable.
And would it be like any kind of like neutral zone, like people who don't really
there's
feel
no
like...
neutral zone in retrogrades.
No, it's just like people who
either you up or you down, and that's it. Like, that's it.
I don't need these things affecting me. I like the. If you said we in this Mercury retrograde, I need this to keep going on.
It's ending the 20th. I'm very happy, and that's the last retrograde of the year for Mercury for this year, for 2019. So if y'all haven't checked out my page, I posted a survival kit of how to survive Mercury retrograde and how to do inner work, healing, and stop sabotaging and things like that.
You should do a YouTube tutorial video explaining how to survive the retro. Remember I was saying simply Shelly, and you go on.
He keeps telling me that. No, I'm not doing how to.
How to break down a breakdown of how to survive the retrograde. I like that.
Well, if y'all like that, let me know. I'm not for it, because I just feel like that is too time consuming.
Surviving the retrograde. I will let you borrow my webcam.
Oh my God. Okay. So now we're going to get down to the final 3 planets, which take the longest to orbit, and they probably have been in retrograde since majority of us who are watching this, unless you are 50 years or older, were born. And that's Uranus. I'm not saying it the other way because it's immature.
No, it's not. I've been saying it that way for years. That's the planet
of rebellion, which is so funny. And basically, that retrograde is felt generationally versus individually. And it's basically a new way of looking at things. And that takes 84 years to complete an orbit through zodiac signs. And it has an androgynous energy. And if y'all don't know what androgynous means, it means it's neither masculine nor feminine, but it's like kind of like both. It's kind of like a blend. And that, ironically,
it's a transsexual.
Yes, it's kind of like that. And that is ruled by Aquarius, which is so funny because a lot of Aquarius people that I know and that I've grown to love do exude androgynous energy. Like, they can be really masculine, and I'm talking about girls and guys. They can be really masculine, or they can be really feminine, or they can be both. Like, there's a lot of Aquarius men who they're very gender fluid. There's no boundaries with their masculinity or femininity. There's a balance between that. And I really love that about Aquarius people. And that's why I'm kind of glad that I'm part Aquarius, because like I'm kind of like that too. Like, I have a girly side, but majority of the time I'm kind of a little rough outside of this podcast. But with Uranus going into retrograde, the higher octave of that is the Mercury retrograde. So we feel that the most when Mercury goes into retrograde, the Uranus retrograde. And we had one of those this year. Neptune is the planet of illusions.
Mm-hmm.
So
for all you delusional motherfuckers out there.
Yep, pretty much. And it's ruled by Poseidon, which is another Greek god. Like, a lot of the planets are named after Greek mythology gods and things like that, but that's just because a lot of them were discovered later, and they were like, all right, we're gonna name them after Greek gods. Like, even like Saturn's moons are named after certain gods and things like that. And that is change. It's basically like change, seeable, and illusionary in nature, and it's basically your dreams, illusions, abstract thoughts, and it's mysterious and spirituality. And that takes 65. Is it 65 or 165? Oh, sorry, guys. It's 165 years to orbit through
What's
sign.
165 years? So
Yeah.
I won't even. Is it
But
currently?
it spends 14 years in each sign, so it's not going to we're not gonna die not knowing when it's in. It spends 14 years in each sign of the zodiac. So every 14 years, Mercury goes in. I'm not Mercury. Neptune goes into retrograde into a different sign and affects that sign deeply, as far as like their illusions, their dreams, and things like that. So like people whose planets are affected by that, like whatever sign Neptune is in retrograde in, and they're born under that, they'll be deeply affected by that. Pluto is the final planet, and that's the planet of power. And again, this is so funny because Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. Even though they tried to say Pluto wasn't a planet, I strongly disagree with that. Science is not always right. Pluto is a planet.
Yeah,
I don't care what they say.
So what did they say? They said it was.
It's a planet now again, but that it was a planet all along.
But no, what did they say it was? Because this was like back when I was in middle school. They had kind of this.
They were saying that it was like a dwarf something. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Pluto is a planet. It orbits the sun like the rest of the planets, and that's that. And Pluto is the planet of power, transformation, regeneration, and rebirth. And it takes 248 years to orbit, but it spends 12 to 31 years in a sign. So a lot of us who were born in the 80s and 90s, we probably, our Pluto planet on our birth chart is Scorpio, because that's what it was in. So if you get your birth chart and you see like your Pluto is Scorpio, that's for everybody. Majority of the time, that's just what it was. Like it takes a very long time to orbit through that sign.
So let me ask you. So when they do like these whole like generational things, they say like every 40 years or something is like a new generation or something like that. I forgot what the actual number is. Is this something that's kind of like based on astrology too, or
it's based on the last 3 planets? Because like I said, those affect generations to come versus us individually as a person. Like the first couple of planets, they affect us individually, which brings us to our birth charts and how they affect us. So I had told y'all all the planets and how they go into retrograde and what they affect and what different aspects they affect. So like, Mercury affects communication, Venus affects love, relationships, things like that. Mars affects our sexuality, aggression, and things like that.
And one more, you said this before, but how long has Mercury been in retrograde so far?
It's been in retrograde since Halloween. It'll end on the 20th of November. It started on Halloween, but before that retrograde happened, a portal opened on the new moon that Sunday before Halloween.
It's like a parallel universe kind of
thing. It blurs the lines between the reality realm and the spiritual realm. So if you're noticing that you're getting a lot of spiritual messages and things around this time, take heed to what you're getting to, because like this is kind of like the blurred line between that, because that portal's not going to close, especially with Monday being 11/11. That's when it'll kind of like do a cosmic shift. And this year will kind of really make or break a lot of people.
Can I go into that portal and come out the other side a millionaire?
You can. You put your energy into it. If you focus your goals and really start manifesting and really take the time out to manifest your dreams and goals, next year will be prosperous for a lot of people, because a lot of tarots that I've been doing for people have been saying that they're going to be on the upper side of things versus the lower side of things.
So but let me ask you this, and this is why I'm gonna interject you. What is the difference between that and every year saying everybody's saying this year is my year?
Because everybody says one thing and does the other. You could set New Year's resolutions, which I think are BS, or you can manifest. Manifestation is daily, yearly, monthly, whatever. You manifest during certain moon phases and things like that. Manifest daily, you do daily affirmations and things like that. That's how you manifest what you really want. You have to set your mind to it. Words are powerful. So whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. The universe is going to give you whatever you clearly intend on wanting or getting. So if you have no clear intention of what you really want or get, that's what the universe is going to send you back. So if you have confused energy or you're not sure, you're going to get uncertainty back into your life. So you have to be sure and firm about everything that you put out into the universe and manifest.
You said portals, like this sounds like some Twilight Zone kind of.
It does, but it's not really like a portal, like like where like demons are gonna come out and start dancing and stuff
or
like that.
Doppelgangers.
It's really more so like portals of the spiritual world, whereas like people who are empathic, psychics, things like that, they're more affected by this because now they can get more in touch with the spiritual side, get in touch with the spirits if that's something that they believe in. Again, this is all about beliefs. So if you believe that you are an empath and you feel people's energies and things like that, your powers are going to be stronger during this time period until the end of the year. So you may be able to see things, tap into things, get certain messages more so than regular times during the year where you may get a message here and there. So now it's like it's really amplified for us who are those. Like I'm a clairvoyant empath. Like I see things in my dreams. So I'll know automatically, like all you have to do is touch me. And then if your energy is off, I'll have a dream about it. The symbols will be clear as day. And then if you notice I just randomly stop talking to you, that's because your energy was off or you did not have good intentions for me as a person.
See, me, I don't kind of have, I feel like I don't have those kind of dreams. I feel like I have like average ass dreams. Like I'll have a dream.
Your dreams aren't average.
But hold on, I'll have a dream where it's just like, I'm in the mall. Like
but that's important. That's important. You see, people don't realize how important their dreams are because dreams hold symbols. So you may be like, oh, I'm at the mall. What were you doing at the mall? What was the atmosphere of the mall? Was it chaotic in the mall? Was it calm in the mall? What did you buy? What color was it that you bought? Again, you have to interpret all of this. All these things are simple meanings. It's a breakdown. Like you could think like a simple dream of like you walking through a hallway is simple, but really in reality, you walking through that hallway could be like you crossing into another portion of your life. And maybe there was a blockage in the middle of that hallway that you didn't think of. And you're like, damn, I can't get through this blockage or whatever. And that's why I also offer dream interpretations as well too. But you have to think about the symbolism in the certain things, like even just down to certain colors of things, certain things that you see in your dreams. They mean things. Like when I had a friend who was no good for me, I used to have a dream about a wolf all the time. And it always used to try to attack me. But then as soon as it would get close enough to attack me and I would be ready to fight it, it would just automatically turn into an infant. And I'd be like, what the hell type of dream is that? But then when I looked it up, a wolf is an enemy in disguise. And for it to turn into a baby means that I've seen this person in a gentle light and things like that. So I had to really take a step back and really reevaluate all of my friendships and see who was really my friend or not. And, I ended up coming out either way because I was in denial from
where can people like kind of get like an interpretation of these? Because like I can kind of see like what
I say is keep a dream journal because I don't know if y'all are like me. Like after I wake up, maybe 15 minutes after I have that dream, it's gone. I don't even remember what happened. It's gone. But unless it's a nightmare.
I said I have like obvious dreams where I know like something is weighing on my mind and it's like I know it's affecting me. But like I said, with like the mall.
No, I didn't see anything about you, baby. It was all pure stuff.
But like when I see like I know those dreams have me, I'm like, all right, yeah, I know I'm going through something. But like I said, with the dream, like
even a simple dream like that, look up what it means. You think it might be something simple, but it might be a foreshadowing of something to come. So you have to really think of like what you're seeing, what visions are you getting? Because dreams are visions of your subconscious. Your subconscious is trying to speak to you and tell you something. And if you're not paying attention, it's going to happen. And then you're like, damn, deja vu, man. I had a dream about this. And then really in reality, no, your subconscious was warning you that this was going to happen, that was going to happen or whatever. So you have to really pay attention to your dreams. Keep a dream journal. Even if you don't remember the whole dream, just write down the important aspects of what you remember. So I always tell people if they're going to get a dream interpretation, write down all of the colors that you've seen, the scenery, if it was calm, if it was crazy, where you were at.
Man, look, I got work in the morning. Let me get ready.
I mean, if you can take 10 minutes out of your morning to look at your phone, you can take 10 minutes out of your time to write down simple things. Like it's really simple. So
I was like up and in the shower.
So that's how I look at it. So which brings me to my next thing, which I really had so much fun doing today. I was trying to get everybody to give me their birth chart today. I had some uncooperative people who thought I was doing witchcraft and wizardry.
Voodoo, going to have a dog with the date stamped on it.
They thought I was going to do some witchcraft. I'm like, no, I'm doing research. I swear, this is all for research purposes.
Walk me into the winning lottery ticket, though.
Okay, I can't walk anyone into winning lottery tickets. I don't do winning numbers. I can't see stuff like that. Anyone who tells you they can, they're frauds. I don't see any of that. I just see things to come if you stay on the current path that you're on, and that's why tarot really resonates with me, because tarot is not set in stone. It's kind of like a forewarning. If you stay on this path and you continue to do these things and you don't address these certain things, or you don't heal from these certain things, or you don't let go of these certain things, this is going to be the outcome of you staying on this path. Whereas if you get the same reading, maybe a month or two after you get the first reading, your path might drastically change differently. Now you might have a great path, you might end up getting married, whatever. There's some people who get things and this says that they'll never be able to have love or children because they have bitterness and hatred in their heart.
I'm gonna play the lottery for the next 30 days and come talk to you. I'm like, what the cards say?
Oh my God.
What the cards say?
I'm gonna do
you see a winner coming up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a basic birth chart breakdown, and then I'm gonna tell you Yatta's and I birth chart, because I had so much fun looking up Yatta's birth chart and seeing what he is in all of his planets and what all of them mean.
Let's see. I'm interested. And just this is a disclaimer. I did not hear about this the first time. So
he doesn't know what his is. I didn't even put his on top. Mine is on top, but I already know mine. So, and I always tell everybody all the time, like, I'm a Capricorn. I have a Cancer moon, and I'm a Capricorn rising. So a lot of people know their sun sign, which represents your personality. It represents your sense of individuality outwardly and things like that, your creative energy, basically your ego. Now your moon sign, which a lot of people do not know about, is your emotional responses to things. It's your unconscious, predestination, and the self-image, and it represents your emotions, and it shows how a person expresses themselves and when they're at home, at ease, and comfortable. So it's basically their emotions. Your Mercury, which also represents your rising, is your communication, which is why when Mercury is in retrograde, whatever sign it is in and whatever sign your Mercury sign is, you may be deeply affected by that. So that's the communication and logical spirit, which is your thoughts. Venus represents your interests, emotions, and values, exchange, sharing with others, and basically romantic feelings towards people and things like that. So if your Venus is in like some real crazy planet, boy, do I got news for you. Because, yeah. And then Mars is the desire for action and physical energy, which is your passion. Your Jupiter is your expansion and grace, which is your luck. Saturn is your contraction and effort, which is your karma. Uranus is individual liberty. I'm not saying that.
It's Uranus.
It's your individual liberty, egotistic liberty, and basically your inner rebel. So whatever you're going to rebel against. And then Neptune is transcendental liberty and non-egotistic liberty, which is your selflessness. And then finally, Pluto is your transformation, mutations, and elimination, which is your power. So I had my chart. I printed my chart out, but I know it's on my phone. Like I saved it in my phone.
Let's get this for the viewers. They don't know what it means. I'm
gonna read to y'all what mine is.
Show them the birth chart.
So this is basically, I don't know if they can even see it. I'm gonna try to show it on YouTube. So this is what a birth chart looks like.
You show Facebook some love.
You can show Facebook that. I'm not showing y'all his
birth chart.
This is a birth chart. That's my birth chart right there. And in order to do a birth chart, you need 4 things. You need your full name, your date of birth, the time you were born, and where you were born. And that's it. And then you put it in. And again, like I said, it basically is like kind of like a GPS coordinate of like where you're born, where the stars aligned in the sky and stuff like that. So Instagram, I did not show y'all my birth chart. I don't know if y'all can see it. So I'm gonna hold it right there.
Birth chart. Let's see what's in store
so
today.
My birth chart is, my sun sign is obviously a Capricorn, Aquarius, cusp. My moon again is a Cancer, and then my rising is or Mercury is a Capricorn. But my Venus is a Sagittarius, and then my Mars is Capricorn. My Jupiter is Virgo.
See a lot of Capricorn out here.
My Saturn is Aquarius. My Uranus is Capricorn. My Neptune is Capricorn, which means that when I was born, that they were both going through Capricorn at the same time.
Lucky you.
And then my Pluto is Scorpio, and my Lilith, which I'll get into, is Capricorn. My North Node is Capricorn, and that's about it for that. And North and South nodes are different. I don't have a South node on here that's listed because I probably cropped it out. But
so when I'm looking at this, I see numbers, words, and symbols. So can you break this?
So the symbols are just basically, if I can explain all this, I'll probably post it up later. There's symbols on the side that basically show you the sun and all of the planets and their what exactly they are. Hold on, let me hold it closer.
Right there.
So this is each symbol of each planet. On this side is the symbols of the planets themselves, and right here is the degrees of which I was born at. So where the coordinates lined up when I was born.
And if you guys want to see this, get a better view, go to YouTube. All right.
Yes. On this side, this is my Placidus. I don't really get into this because this is more in depth of it kind of has really no use to me, so I really don't use that. That's for a real full birth chart of if you really want to know who you really are as a person. But it really has no real use to you as a person. It's kind of the same generic rhetoric over and over again. Your birth chart in itself is the most useful to you as an individual if you want to know about yourself individually. So Yatta's that he does not know about.
Let's see what this is about.
I had pulled his up because it was so much fun doing this. And his is, of course, he's a Gemini, as we've all established on the show. And Gemini. But his moon is in Capricorn. And that's so funny, which means he is heartless.
What? I'm not heartless. Hold on. I am not heartless. First and foremost, I am not heartless.
When you have your moon in Capricorn, that represents your emotions, and Capricorns naturally are the hardest and emotionless people on the planet. We have the hardest time expressing our emotions simply for the fact that we do not like feeling vulnerable and letting people in. So to have your moon in Capricorn is hilarious. But mine is in Cancer, which means I'm a very secretly emotional person, which I am. And if you've ever dealt with me, you know that I'm very sensitive and very emotional.
We're going to take a poll. Is Yatta heartless? I want y'all to answer this. I want y'all to answer this. Everybody watching. Yeah, yes or no? If you want to hear yes or no, is Yatta heartless? I need to know. Continue.
His Mercury is in Taurus. Lord Jesus. His Venus is in Cancer. So he is a very passionate person. Probably a very passionate romantic lover. His Mars is in Leo and his Jupiter is in Leo. And his Saturn's in Aquarius, which is similar to me. So the last couple of ones. I told y'all.
I can't believe you.
I told y'all. And then his Saturn, Uranus, Neptune are in the same as mine, which are Aquarius, Capricorn, and his Pluto is in Scorpio because, like I said, at that time, if you were born in the late 80s and 90s, our last couple of planets are the same because it was orbiting through the same sign. It takes a while for it to go. So anyone born after, I think it was 96, 97, which is why a lot of people say 96, 97, kids born from 96 onwards are kind of little,
that's in the Gen Z.
The spectrum. They were born under a different time. I think they were born under Aquarius, which is why this is called the age of Aquarius right now. And then your Lilith is also in Capricorn as well as your North Node. So
what does this mean for me as far as all of this, me being in let's say with my moon being in Capricorn, what does that mean?
So again, that represents your emotional state. That means that you're not you don't express your emotions outwardly. You more so express them inwardly. And when you do open up and let people in and they hurt you, that is it. It's done. It's a wrap. It's over. That's it. That's the last time they gonna get you like that, and that's it. And that's just you as your moon sign. Like
I think that's called learning from the past.
It's not learning from the past. That's just who you are. And for you to have your rising sign in Taurus, like, oh my goodness, this is why this show works, because it's like we are polar opposites.
What does this mean? What is my Mercury being in Taurus? Explain. Elaborate.
So, I really have to go and like really pull that up for you and elaborate. But your Mercury is basically your communication. And Taurus people, they are materialistic people. So Yatta may be a millionaire by some point in his life because he is probably going to be very materialistic, but also a hardworking person. He also likes to form a lot of social bonds and networks. So he's very good at networking, marketing, and things like that, which is also why Yatta Debates is.
I tell people like this. It's just like I may be friendly, but if I classify you as friends, I don't have like a lot of that. I can be friendly.
No, that's what comes into your rising. You don't. Your friend is your friend, but you keep more business associates than you do friends.
Facts.
And that's just that.
I won't lie there.
And that's just that. And it's so funny because your Taurus is in the third house, which is when I told y'all I'm not gonna keep y'all long because we're already almost at 60 minutes. I'm just gonna go through the houses and tell y'all what each of them mean, because he was born in the first house, I believe, of. Oh, look, all of these were in retrograde when you were born. Oh, Saturn was in retrograde when you were born. Uranus was in retrograde when you were born.
Uranus.
Neptune was in retrograde when you were born, and Pluto was in retrograde when you were born. And the only planet that was in retrograde when I was born was Jupiter, which means my luck was shot.
This looks like a report card.
It does. And I do the full reports. It's very lengthy, so I really try not to send like the whole full report. Like I'll just send you like your sign, and you can look that up yourself, or I can send you the full report, but I'm gonna charge you for it.
So with the Venus, what is my Venus Mercury? What does my Venus being in Cancer mean?
Well, your Venus being in Cancer, I have to refer back to my lovely book.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
your romantic feelings. Like I said, you're a very passionate lover and a very romantic person. You feel, but then again, it's like kind of contradictory to your moon, because it's like
Gemini.
You kind of like you be wanting to like give all this love, but then you be like, if I'm not receiving it back, then back up, like kind of like that. So, but that all goes into like what houses you were into. And there are 12 houses in the zodiac, and whatever house you were born in. I was born in the 11th house of Capricorn. Mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna go break them down real quickly. They're simple, easy. Like I tried to break it down as simple as possible, but there's like this whole big breakdown that I have. And if y'all want to know more about it, please, y'all could message me. Just as long as I'm not asleep or I'm out, don't message me. But otherwise,
you need business hours.
Yes, I do have business hours. They're from on weekdays, they are from 6:30 to 10:30.
6:30 in the morning?
No, 6:30 at night. No, don't message me at 6:30 in the morning. You ain't gonna get no response. But they're on my business page too, my business hours. And like I said, they vary because like during Yatta Debates, I try not to do any type of business during the debates, just because I need to focus on one thing at a time. Like that's one of the things that I've learned from my Saturn going into retrograde is to not scatter myself and spread myself so thinly and focus my energies into one thing. So you can take away and learn lessons from each retrograde if you apply that and actually, take the time out to learn what each retrograde means. So I'm gonna go to the houses and then, I'll end it there. And Yatta, if you have any questions for me, the first house is yourself. So if you were born in the first house, you're more probably a self-centered person. You're more about self, things like that. The second house is about possessions. So people who are born in second houses of their signs, they're materialistic people. They probably value possessions more than they do relationships with people. So these are the type of people who will be like, listen,
shots fired.
My car, my house, like I gotta have the finest things, but y'all can't touch my shit like that.
I mean, I'm like that to an extent though. Like I won't say like.
But you're in the first house of freaking Gemini.
Oh. So I thought you said second house.
No, the second house is your moon.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm not materialistic though.
You're not. This is good. The third one is communication. The fourth one is family and home. So like anyone who's born in the fourth house of their sign, they're going to be more family oriented. Those are the people who probably start families. They'll value like marriage, traditional values, things like that. The fifth house is about pleasure. So it's not like about sexual pleasure. It's about like pleasures of life, enjoying life, maybe traveling, living your best life, like doing things, maybe thrill seekers. Those are the type of people, like, the type of people you see on Instagram who are travel bloggers or bloggers in general, people who like to try new things like food, things like that. Those are the type of people in fifth houses of that sign. The sixth house, if you're in that, is health. And those people are very health conscious people. Those may be like people who may have grown up in a home where health was not really a big thing, and they end up becoming vegans or go through like very spiritual journeys to become whatever type of person they want to be, to provide the best health for their body. They're very
get back on my smoothie wave.
They're very health conscious about themselves and things like that. The seventh house is about partnerships, and that's not about relationships. It's about business partnerships, just partnerships in general, networking, getting out, meeting people, and things like that. So those people value like networking, making acquaintances. They don't make friends. These people cannot hold friends because their trust is just like, no, I can't trust you. I can do business with you, but business is business, and that's it. There's no blurred line of, oh, you're my friend and we do business together. Like, they will probably have their set of friends, but then they'll have their business partners and groups and things like that. The eighth house, if anyone is born under that, is the house that's ruled for sex. And those people are, very sexual beings. They may not be promiscuous people, but they value sensual pleasures and things like that. So they are very sensual people in the sense of like, they may exude like very sexual energy, like to the point where you're very like enthralled by them. Like, you want to be up under them. Like, they're sexy and stuff like that. I was not born under that. I'm a potato. I do not exude any of that. The ninth house is philosophy. So these people probably are philosophers. They're probably self-taught. They probably don't believe in the normal conventional ways of society. They'll probably be self-learners and things like that. So those people value philosophy. They may even dabble into Stoicism and older religions and things like that, but they won't be to one set conform religion. They'll be more so fluid into all religions and apply them all into one.
Damn philosophers.
Yes, they take away from each thing, but they're also very logical people as well too. So they will, look at life not through like their emotions. They won't make emotional decisions. They make very rational, logical, what's the best for them decisions. Like, if you ever get into an argument in front of somebody who's born in the ninth house of their sign, they're not going to take either side. They're going to be like, y'all both was wrong, and let me tell you why. Those are probably like the peacemakers. Those people probably end up being politicians, things like that.
You got 2 minutes left on Instagram.
I know. I'm going to get to the 10th, 11th, and 12th house before Instagram cuts me off. The 10th one is social status, which are people who usually end up being like celebrities,
Kanye West for president,
things like that. The 11th house is friendships, and like I said, I was born under the 11th house, and I value friendships.
I must not have been born under.
And the 12th house is your subconscious, which is basically people who are influenced by their subconscious. These people may be fluid psychics, empaths, and things like that, visionaries, artists, things like that. They're more influenced by their subconscious. They're more intuitive. I've noticed a lot of Pisces are born under the 12th house a lot because they're dreamers as well as Aquarius people too. And again, these houses they rule certain planets. So if you want to know more about that, I can tell you which planets rule what.
Book an appointment at Ive Sales on Facebook.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not that much. Like, it's a $5 deposit fee for an appointment, and that's just because I just want to make sure that y'all keep y'all appointments. Like, I don't want to take time on my day for an appointment and then y'all don't show up.
Yeah.
So other than that, like, my services are very cheap. Like, the going rate in the market right now is like, I think like people charge upwards to $90 for readings, things like that. I charge $15 if you want a tarot reading. I charge $10 for dream interpretation.
You better do it now before those prices shoot up.
And, I'm just saying, like, I have, a lot to offer for you guys. And I do I do study this a lot. That's why I always make sure I bring the correct information to you guys. If Instagram cuts off, I'm sorry, Instagram. We're just gonna continue on Facebook. So if you have me on Facebook, just go over to Facebook or YouTube and just head over to there. The link is in my bio. But as far as Facebook and YouTube go, this is stuff that I studied. Like I went through a spiritual journey. Instagram ended. Thank you for all the 13 people that did view. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. Like I do birth charts. I do birth charts on people I don't even know. Like I'll be like, okay, if this guy wants to date me, I'm going to do his chart. And people do look at me weird when I'm like, hey, what time were you born? And they're like, no, don't even start your mess, girl. I'm like, damn.
That's a weird question to ask somebody.
It's not weird. Like, what time were you born?
Yeah, but like, and you just like, what time? I was like, I don't know.
I mean, but sometimes you like, if you don't get the time, sometimes some people don't know, so you can put unknown, but it's not as accurate as if you get the time. When you do unknown, it just automatically sets it to 12 midnight, so it could be anywhere from that day that you were born. And what if one star was not in that spot at that time that you were born or whatever? But mainly, you really just need the city and your name and your birthday. That's it. So, I gave y'all this birth chart. I'm
gonna hold on to this. I gotta see the accuracy of this.
I'm pretty sure that he will probably come back to me and be like, you know what, you are a witch and I'm tired of you. Also, I do have stuff to tell y'all and offer y'all as well too, in regards to our stuff that we do, like with our equipment and stuff like that. I do advertise oils and things for my tarot business. They're not out here. I have to go get them. But there's also an app that if you want to learn about yourself, it is called The Pattern. And it tells you about certain patterns in regards to retrogrades, in regards to people around you, in regards to yourself. It tells you about it. If you don't know about it, you should definitely download it. Try it out.
We'll have a link in the bio for The Pattern app.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we put it.
It's available in I don't know what Android y'all use.
Google Play. Stop playing. The Google Play Store. Shut up.
Oh my God.
In the Apple App Store and the Google Play. Stop it.
It's called The Pattern. But whatever y'all Android people use, it's called The Pattern. It looks like a brush swipe. It's a black brush swipe. Obviously my phone is on the stand, and it tells you. Actually, you know what? Since I'm not on Instagram, I could show y'all real fast before
the Pattern app. We're gonna get this situated for y'all, so you guys,
you
guys are interested, and we will have the link in the
bio. And I do study Stoicism too, which is like something too. Like I have my daily quotes from Stoicism. Y'all might see me post like random little quotes here and there. So this is basically what let me show y'all what The Pattern looks like, the app actually. So the app in itself looks like it's that little brush swipe. Where is my finger?
Right there.
It's right here. It's called The Pattern.
The Pattern.
Facebook.
I don't know if we can pick it up on there.
You might be able to. The camera's the other way. Yeah. It's
right there.
The bottom one.
The black and white one.
It looks like a brush swipe, but then click it. Hold on. So I'm gonna click it.
You click it.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Are you holding my So when you click it, it even tells you like about Mercury retrograde, how it's affecting you personally. It'll tell you about the retrogrades, how it's affecting you, but it also tells you about yourself. It tells you each day what is going on with your pattern. So my pattern today tells me that, life may feel out of control because of circumstances I can't change at the time. And it can seem like I'm constantly dealing with disruptive situations or a chaotic home life. That's contradictory to what I'm about. But my reaction to these circumstances can be upsetting for me, which I have no clue what it's talking about, but I'll probably figure it out in the next couple of days. But you can click there's a link at the bottom that says go deeper, and it actually goes in depth of what
the rabbit hole.
And then this is basically like my patterns for the year. It tells you the time frames of the pattern.
Did that say moody?
No, it didn't. Leave me alone. It did. It said moody and sensitive. It also says it tells you your relationship expectations, unpredictable relationships. I am romantic, but also impractical, and what my ideal relationship is, and my work and public life, and my destiny, and things like that. But you can also, if you guys, are sats like me, if you find out the person that you like's birthday, you can put them in and their name in too and get their pattern, and you can check to see how compatible y'all patterns are and things like that.
And you can see if it's a go
if
or
it's a match or
no.
not, because it'll tell you. Oh my God, I don't want to do this because I definitely did it with a couple people on here. So I'm not going to show y'all my matches that I did on her.
But, I don't know who's watching.
Yeah, because I don't know who's watching. But I definitely did some, and that's what, kept a lot of y'all around. But yeah, so the pattern is a really, really good app. Like I'm telling y'all, like y'all probably look at me and be like, nah, this app too real. Like it read me for filth. And if you're not ready for that type of like, honesty with yourself, especially with the patterns, because the patterns don't last a long time. Life is about patterns. They don't last a long time. They're cycles. So you may be going through one pattern until it'll say like April to next March, and then that it's a new pattern. So you have to learn from these patterns and break these patterns in a sense. So
if you guys
download that. I'm gonna step away for a second to get the oils to show y'all. And Yatta's gonna take over.
Don't forget the mic. Don't forget the mic clip.
Oh no, hold up! I can't run away with that.
No, that mic clip is not that long. And again, this is not sponsored by Pattern, but please, if you guys see these, please highly request that Pattern does sponsor this video. We will have a link in the bio. Shelly is going to go down to run and get the oils. But again, I have my birth chart, and I'm going to sit here and take a peek at this because I gotta see if this is like some BS or if this is real. What's going on, Jacob? So yeah, I don't know. I haven't necessarily done anything but like birth charts or anything like this before. So I just really gotta get like a grasp of what I'm looking at and see and go. But you gotta put the mic clip on. Yeah, just put it on the outside. So I gotta get a grasp on this and see how much of this is actually accurate. I gotta fact check Shelly. We're going to fact check.
He's going to fact check me in next episode on 21. He's going to let me know. So now with that, when I told y'all that I do my, tarot cards and healing stuff, I also offer like spells and different things like that. Now this is going to sound really weird, but I do offer spells. It's not anything black magic. I don't offer black magic. Because one, black magic does have the effect to backfire on you. So
the caster or the person who cast it?
Yeah, it can backfire on the person who is casting it. So you may be like, oh, I want to break up this couple. And in turn, you're gonna end up messing up all your relationships to come. So that's why I don't endorse it. And I always say that all the time, like, don't ask me for those type of stuff. And I always, it's so funny you said that word. Because in this syringe right here is Jezebel oil. And Jezebel oil is basically like an attraction oil. It's for you put it on if you want to attract
Mariah Carey, here I come.
If you want to attract someone, like it's like makes you kind of like irresistible in a sense. And I have it in this little jar as well too. Like this was like my carry around Jezebel oil.
Mariah Carey, I hope you're watching. Coming to that ass.
Then with this oil, I had put some on Yatta earlier. This is called, and these are all available from the Art of Root. Tell them that Shelly sent you, and it's on Amazon.
Do you have a referable link? Put through them.
I have to message the lady and see.
Yeah, get a referable link and then
I'll tell you. But yes, so this is called Fame and Fortune oil. You just put drops of this on your pulse points and on candles and different things like that. That's how you use these oils. You put them on pulse points, candles, and all that stuff like that. Then I also have money drawing oil for people who have a money problem.
Let me get this whole bottle.
Okay, you just pour that on a candle. And when you do money drawing oil, make sure you get a green candle. I say get a green knob 7-day candle and put the oil on it, because that way the money will be longer. If you get small chime candles, it'll be short-lived money and things like that. So you also have to learn about candle spells.
Lottery tickets.
And then this one, which is almost done, as y'all can see, is my gold digger oil.
Wait, gold digger. No,
I ain't gonna bring this one out.
Let me see it.
This one's for the ladies.
Let me see this.
I'm dead serious. It's
gold digger oil. Hold on. I need y'all to know it's real. What does that say? Gold digger.
Listen, ladies, if there's ladies watching this oil is good for attracting wealthy men and things like that. I'm not saying like I'm trying to talk about money. Wealth is not about money. It's about a person.
Fellas, watch out.
It's about someone. It's about someone who is wealthy in their soul. Like they may have a good soul. They may be good for you. Because like Bob Marley said, wealth is not money. It's what's inside of you and things like that. So that's that oil, like, you know, but also it does attract people with money too.
Tax season is coming up. Don't worry.
So that's really it that I have to say. So if you guys are interested in the oils, please DM my business page. I really try to filter. I don't check my messages on my personal page like that. So DM my business page because I get those directly, and it's facebook.com/EOS Visions. And I can send y'all the links to the oils, and then I can also get my referral link from the Art of Root so that we can, you know, work something out and get, you know, our little commission for y'all to debate.
And then
we're in the works of, you know, networking with other things as well too. And
we'll have all that. We'll have her business page in the description below, so you guys can sit there and follow that.
Yes. But I don't have anything else to offer. You know, if you do want your birth chart, I can give you this simplified birth chart without the full explanation of it. It's not lengthy, but if you do want the full, where it explains what each sign means, what each of it, how it affects you and your personality.
In your readings, do you break these down to people?
It depends if they ask for it.
Okay.
I haven't had much people ask about birth chart readings because I guess they didn't know that I really offer that. They're more interested in tarot than they are in like knowing about their birth chart, which I feel like you should know about your birth chart before you do any type of tarot, because how are you going to ask about someone else if you don't even know about yourself?
True.
So that's how I do it. I know my birth chart. Like I said, I save it in my phone. As soon as you ask me, I'll be like, yes, I am a Capricorn, Cancer, Capricorn. So, you know, that's just that. And that's how I look at it. And I just see what I'm compatible with at the end of the day. Like, cause, you know, if I share a Cancer moon. Oh, look, hi, baby. What's up? Okay. And a few. I'm almost done.
Ice cream.
Ice cream time.
What's going on, Jamal?
But yes. So, you know, if you guys are interested in any of those things or any of those services, you know, just hit my page up. And, you know, if you want to learn more about your birth charts, you know, do that. Like, it's not fun. Even numerology, like your life path numbers and things like that. But that's a whole nother subject for another day. And maybe I will, now that I've thought about it. And, you know,
do that page.
Will do
that
on
page.
my page, on my business page, I'll do little snippets, 30 seconds of explaining what each thing means.
I'm telling you, do
and you guys follow and like my page and just, you know, encourage me to do it because I'm not doing it.
Do Instagram posts and you will do a 30 to 50 second video explaining how to survive the retrograde today. Or not even just today, on a week by week basis, if need be. You know what I mean? Or even if it's just when you know the retrograde is coming or is ending. I think that would be dope.
And if anyone has anything to add about anything about the retrogrades that I've missed, I think I've pretty much covered majority of it. You know, like I said, I went in depth with all of the planets because, like I said, if you were born during a certain time period, majority of our last couple of planets from, I believe, Uranus to Pluto are the same. But you also have Lilith and the nodes in your thing. And before I let y'all go, Lilith is a black moon. But she's also the basically like the devil's girlfriend. In a sense, she's the head of the succubus.
I'm like, look at that.
And his Lilith is in Capricorn with mine. And Lilith represents our dark, deeper natures that may be repressed or burnt or buried. And then our nodes, which are north or south, represents either overdeveloped character traits or points to qualities that we need to work on or develop to achieve inner balance and fulfillment. So your North Node is in Capricorn, my North Node is in Capricorn. So we have to figure out what we have to work out in our Capricorn in order to be better people, which is probably why we were paired together on this show. So that was it for Yatta Debates today from me, giving you guys a retrograde breakdown. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can comment below, comment on the YouTube video, comment on our Facebook video. We do sound bites on YouTube, and then also you can DM me. You can ask Yatta too, because now he knows a little bit.
This is not my expertise. Don't come ask me these questions. I'm gonna give you like, I'm like, what's yours on? I'm like, you crazy. That's all you need to know.
So you know, just hit me up for any of that stuff. Like I do that, and if you want to set an appointment for a tarot reading, even if you don't want a tarot reading, if you want to just know more about yourself, your sign, things like that, hit me up for that too. Like I said, I offer a wide variety of service outside of tarot. which includes breaking down your numerology chart, your birth chart, dream interpretations, and symbolisms and things like that. As well as offering oil spells and all these other things. So I do have a spell book.
No, stay away from that gold digger oil. I'm letting the homies know. Watch out.
Y'all make sure if y'all see now all of a sudden that I'm irresistible because I got that gold digger on.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching episode 20. And we might again do some more viewer requests. So please, when we ever ask for topics, we are doing it for our viewer requests. So please feel free to pitch in.
Pitch in and just let us know. I got a lot of questions about relationship stuff. And, I feel like we do touch on a lot of relationship things. But, retrograde, I really don't want to talk about nothing as far as relationship-wise, because if I tell y'all something about relationships, this is not the time to be making any type of decisions regarding relationships.
And you won't be giving you on, like, the kind of relationship advice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Stay strong. Y'all want no relationship advice from me. Like, don't listen to nothing I got to tell y'all. I am not.
She says she's evolving right now.
Yes, I am evolving. I am a phoenix right now, okay? I am rising from my ashes, okay?
But today on Yatta Debates, thank you so much. Like I said, look out for those viewer request posts. We will be posting those on our Instagrams and our Facebook, so make sure you follow that if you would like to see your topic on here. And thank you so much for this episode of Yatta Debates.
See you later. Peace, YouTube. And then Facebook, hit me up for the more.